Hello everyone. I'm Dr. Pranami Bhattacharya, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Royal Global University. I'm here with a presentation on post-colonial studies. It's a huge ocean of knowledge, and hence I'm here with part 1 of the presentation, which is an introduction to post-colonial studies. The target audience is the postgraduate students of the English course, and the objectives are to introduce the students to the huge world of post-colonial studies and to acquaint them with a very important book in this field of studies, which is Edward Said's Orientalism. So, what is post-colonialism? It involves a critical study of the experiences of colonialism and its past and present effects. And to put it in a very simple way, post-colonial theory is about colonialism, which emphasizes the effects of colonialism on both the colonized and the colonizer. So this would definitely mean that this theory provides a point of view that responds to the practice of colonialism, its effects, and also the complicated power dynamics that takes place both during the colonial experience and its aftermath. Post-colonialism is a mental setup as well as a time frame. It is a way you deal with the effects of colonialism and its aftermath, and it is also a time frame because of the prefix post which is there with the word colonialism. So it refers to a time when colonialism comes to an end. It deals with various kinds of practices and discourses, which means networks of talks related to slavery, suppression, migration, resistance, difference, race, gender, and place, as well as the responses to all these discourses of imperial power. So, post-colonial theory is not only interested in giving us a point of view of the master or the ruler or the colonized alone, but it also shows how the experiences of colonialism led to a proliferation of ways of thinking, ways of looking, and ways of creating meaning. There are many important theorists in this field like Franz Fanon, Edward Said, which we are including in the presentation, Bill Ashcroft et al., Homi Bhabha, Gayatri Chakraborty Spivak, amongst others. Coming to Edward Said's phenomenal book Orientalism, it is a very, very important and landmark book in trying to deconstruct and demystify the entire process of creating the Orients. Orients means all the Eastern countries, all the countries which were ruled by the Occidents. Occidents, which is the Western countries, the colonial powers. A very important quote from the book Orientalism goes like this: the Orient was almost a European invention and had been since antiquity a place of romance, exotic beings, haunting memories, and landscapes, remarkable experiences. So it was a discourse which was created around the Orients, and the Orients which were displayed to be romantic, exotic, haunting, terrifying, and all such things. So, as we understand, Orientalism is a way of seeing and creating knowledge, but false knowledge most of the time, that leads to the imagination and exaggeration and distortion of the differences of the others, quote unquote, the others. Others means all the Orientals. So here Said in his book, he's a Palestinian American author, and he in his book focuses on the Arab people and the cultures which were compared to that of the first world countries like Europe and US. If at all we can continue using the terms first, second, third, so on and so forth. Now this theory has been amplified and applied to all the colonial people across the globe, even though Said focused on mostly the Arab people and the process of them being created as Orientals. And Said also states that Orientalism originates in the period of European Enlightenment and the subsequent colonization of the Arab world. Now, coming to a very interesting topic, the process of creating the Orients or the others, it was based on and it also helped rationalize the European colonialism in which the West or the Occidents fabricated the East or the Orients as exceedingly dissimilar and inferior, and therefore as if it was in need of mediation of some kind or rescue, as if it was waiting to be rescued by someone who is more civilized. And the colonial people, they termed it famously as the white man's burden. They took it up all upon themselves to come and save, as if these people were dying, as if these people were in dire need of a rescue. Now, Said focuses that it involves seeing the Arab cultures as exotic, uncivilized, backward, unsafe, threatening, and so on and so forth. This can definitely be applied to all the Oriental people, cultures. And applying Lacanian mirror image here, the Occidents created the Orients as their other, which I've already said. And the other is similar to the idea of Lacan's mirror image. And this mirror image, this other, was uncivilized as against the civilized West. So Said's Orientalism is relevant even in today's world, because even though colonialism has technically ended, the systems of thinking and representation has seeped deep inside the psyche and the mentality of people, and even today the thinking and representation is derived from, in various ways, is derived from colonial power relations. And yes, if we look at it carefully, these kind of thinking discourses and creating of perspectives still carry on, they still continue. And postcolonialism definitely seeks to uncover the fundamental principles of structures of colonialism, which is rooted in different systems of knowledge and representation, whether whether in serious academics or in the popular stream. So, summarizing, Orientalism talks about the world being divided into binary opposites: Orients versus the Occidents. Orients were the East, Occidents were the West. The Orients were portrayed as, they were definitely colored, they were the non-whites, they were as if they were portrayed as irrational, dumb, as if they had no history. This is mostly because most of the Oriental countries had oral history, and as if they were animal-like, as if they had no language, so on and so forth. And the Occidents were all which the Orients were not. They were rational, they had a grand history, they had an advanced language system, etc., etc. And all these ideas operated through a very important thing, the tool of colonialism, the tool of power play, even today, which is discourse. And this is an idea which is taken from Michel Foucault, and he develops it while discussing how the articulation of words, speech, and images produce discourse. So, power is created and then it is spread through discourse, and this was an important tool in the hands of the colonial powers. So here ends part 1 of the introduction to post-colonial studies, and we focused on Edward Said's Orientalism. Part 2 of the lecture would focus on another very important theorist of post-colonial studies, who is Frantz Fanon. Thank you.